If you have an anxious attachment style, it can feel like a hopeless and lonely experience, but in this video, I'm going to share with you one trick that I use that can actually help you reverse your anxious tendencies. I'm John O'Brien. If you're new here, welcome to the channel where we discuss attachment theory and personal growth. Let's get started. So the anxious attachment style, also known as the anxious preoccupied, is one of the four main attachment styles in attachment theory. It's called the anxious preoccupied because anybody with this attachment style is preoccupied with a relationship or with the idea of a relationship. They lack independence and individuality. This is one of the insecure attachment styles. So if you know somebody with an anxious attachment style, or if you have an anxious attachment style yourself, know that this is an insecure attachment style. But anybody dealing with this attachment style, I know you didn't ask for it. You don't need to feel ashamed or embarrassed. Your attachment style was conditioned onto you from childhood and carried over into your life experiences based on past relationships, which probably amplified your anxious tendencies. And you probably weren't even aware of any of this, but you are now. I struggle with an anxious attachment style myself, and I for so many years, I didn't even have any awareness of it. But we know now, and we're going to take the necessary steps to work towards having a secure attachment style that's going to be healthy for us and healthy for our relationships, romantic or otherwise. Now, I am going to share with you a trick that will shift your mindset, but first, we need to discuss accountability. As people who struggle with an anxious attachment style, we need to hold ourselves accountable. That means we need to be aware when we find ourselves becoming anxious. Because if we don't put those anxious tendencies in check, then they're going to overwhelm us. And they're going to overwhelm everybody around us. And I say this in just about every video, but we need to maintain self-awareness. Don't deny your anxious attachment style. Come to terms with it. Accept that you do have these insecurities, and now we can begin the work to move away from them. That means drawing healthy boundaries around our anxiety, drawing healthy boundaries around our fear of abandonment, drawing healthy boundaries around our vulnerability, around our people-pleasing, around our neediness and need for external validation. The more you keep these tendencies in check, the stronger your tolerance will become. So let's be aware of our anxious attachment style, and let's hold ourselves accountable. You feel your anxious tendencies kicking in, take a step back. Take a step back. Let everything settle. Let your emotions, your brain chemicals, your dopamine, your oxytocin, let it settle. Let your anxiety settle. Your thoughts are going into overdrive. Take a step back and let everything settle. Now, I'm going to share with you a trick that I've been using to move away from my anxious attachment style and bring me closer towards having a secure attachment style. And it's going to take you a long way. It's such a simple trick. It's so simple, but it's going to take you such a long way in becoming more secure with yourself and secure with your relationships. So here's my trick. Study the traits and tendencies of the avoidant attachment styles, and then slowly and gradually begin to adopt those traits and tendencies for yourself. Now, to be clear, I'm not telling you to become an avoidant, okay? I am not telling you to become a dismissive avoidant, because that is also a very insecure attachment style, okay? So that's not what I'm telling you. What I am telling you is to slowly, in small, healthy doses, begin to adopt some of the traits and tendencies of an avoidant attachment style. So, where an anxious attachment style has a negative view of oneself, they have low self-esteem, an avoidant attachment style has a positive view of oneself. Avoidants usually have higher self-esteem. That's a trait that you can work towards. Where an anxious attachment style is very open-hearted and vulnerable, an avoidant puts heavy walls up. They're very guarded. Vulnerability is rare for them. So, as an anxious, preoccupied person, you should start to build some healthy walls up. I encourage vulnerability, but often for us anxious attachment styles, for us, we express too much vulnerability, too quickly, too much, too soon. It can be overwhelming for everyone. And those vulnerabilities can very quickly turn into insecurities. So, do as a dismissive avoidant does and build some walls up. It's okay. Those walls will protect you. They'll protect others from being overwhelmed. And as you take your time with someone slowly, you can slowly and gradually start to bring those walls down with sound judgment. And that's a very secure thing to have. You know, where an anxious preoccupied is very needy, a dismissive avoidant is hyper independent. So try to adopt some of that independence for yourself. Become more emotionally independent. You see, where an anxious preoccupied is too far this way and a dismissive avoidant is too far in the other direction, a secure attachment style knows how to hover in the middle. So if you have an anxious attachment style, try to acquire some of these traits of the dismissive avoidant. And by doing so, you'll build your way towards having a more secure attachment style. And once you find that healthy balance, you can kind of hover in the middle. Okay? And that is the hallmark of a secure attachment style. Someone who is secure in themselves and in their relationships. So that is my one trick. Study the dismissive avoidant attachment style and try to work yourself towards some of those traits. And that'll bring you closer to a secure attachment style once you find that balance where you can hover in the middle. I hope I brought some good into your life today. If so, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel. And share your stories and your thoughts in the comments. I love reading them. I love interacting with them. And if you are struggling with an anxious attachment style and you're trying to heal from it, I recommend this video right here. Until next time, you all take care, and I'll see you in the next.